Come on. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and I do apologize for the delay, but let us get started with our state expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. These are misdemeanor cases. Excuse me, I've got some, okay. These are misdemeanor cases in which individual defendants were recently booked and charged at the Fulton County Jail. Soon thereafter, the cases were formally accused by the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Therefore, this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judge. When your case is called, I will let you know what is your new accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, to appoint counsel if you cannot afford a counsel at the present time, or you are unable to retain one at the present time, as well as to set a bond if one has not been previously set. For some of you, you may qualify for what we call a signature bond. You're in consultation with the attorneys. They may have explained to you that a signature bond is one in which you would not have to pay for your release today, but you would have to comply with the conditions of the bond. If you fail to comply, the bond may be revoked and converted to what we call a cash or surety bond. For others, you may receive a cash or surety bond in which you would have to pay in order to secure your release. Conditions may still attach. If you're a defendant charged with a misdemeanor offense or offenses today, please remember these two very important rights. The first one is the right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say during the course of this virtual court proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. This proceeding is being recorded and live streamed, so please remember to exercise your right to remain silent and speak only to your appointed counsel if you need to. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. For individuals who are not attorneys, who are alleged victims or family members or here to support a defendant, please make sure that your video is off and that you are on mute. You can chime in when you hear the defendant whom you're interested to address is being called. So, Antavius, please stop your video and let us proceed. Mr. Coleman, is that you, sir? Who is in courtroom 2? I'm sorry, I can only see half of the person.
Well, these are
Oh, it's counsel. Okay.
Yeah, this is a private attorney. Well, it's not on the calendar, but his name is Mr. Hinton, Brandon Hinton.
Case is not on the calendar?
Right, he's an add-on.
An add-on. Okay. And what's the accusation number? Do we have an accusation number?
We haven't received
Okay. Counsel, I can't address your client's case until I get an accusation number. I have no idea what the case is about. So we're going to address the accused cases, and we're going to take your clients up as soon as I get the case accused. Oh, the prosecutor gives me an accusation.
The prosecutor.
Yeah, the prosecutor is available. Who is prosecuting it today? Is it Mr. Walker or Ms. Graham? Who is this Watts iPhone? Please stop that video. Okay, there you go.
We're all here. I think it might already be accused, but we've had a couple add-ons, so let me just look into it and I can report that.
Okay. Miss, who's hosting, please stop video and mute Watts iPhone. Thank you.
This should be.
I'm sorry, Judge. It's Miss Grace. You want me to stop the video for who? Now I didn't hear you.
Person Watts iPhone. I don't know who that is. Okay, so can we have go, folks? Can we start with an accused case until counsel? You need to sit aside to the courtroom, and your client needs to go back into the gallery seating, and we'll take the next case, please.
We'll go to number 8, Gonzalez. She has an interpreter, so.
Okay, is our interpreter available? Ms. Tolles, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Forgive me, I'm a bit hoarse today with these allergies and pollen.
Okay, you're still a trooper. Thank you. And this is Jocelyn Gonzalez. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
All right.
Gonzalez.
Mr. Murphy. Okay, Mr. Murphy, do you speak Spanish?
I do not, Your Honor. My paralegal and I have been contacting with Jocelyn, but if interpreter would be needed for this particular case.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. Tolles, do you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, this is State versus Jocelyn Gonzalez, charged with battery from April 6, 2024.
Este es el caso de Jocelyn González González. Se le ha imputado la acusación de acometimiento de fecha 6 de abril 2024.
The accusation number is 24 CR 2018F.
Número de acusación 24 CR 2018F.
Ms. Gonzalez, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you.
Señora González, usted tiene derecho a permanecer callada. Cualquier cosa que diga aquí en sesión abierta podrá y será usada en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney, and your attorney is Mr. Michael Murphy, who's on the Zoom screen.
Tiene derecho a un abogado y su abogado es el licenciado Michael Murphy, que está aquí presente en la llamada Zoom. Está aquí en la pantalla.
Mr. Howard, any priors of Ms. Gonzalez?
Second arrest.
Licenciado
22
Howard, la señora González tiene antecedentes penales.
2023 illegal alien arrest. That's it.
En su
Correct.
segundo arresto, en el 2023, la detuvieron por ser extranjera ilegal.
Mr. Grant,
Es lo
good
único.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
And what is the state seeking today?
Your Honor,
Licenciado Graham, buenas tardes. ¿Y qué está buscando el Estado con este caso hoy?
the state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, one-day anger awareness, no further contact with Elena Velasquez, and a stay away from 922 Greenhouse Circle in Roswell. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Ms.
Su
Tolles?
señoría, el Estado está recomendando. Yes, Your Honor, I was noting all that down.
Okay.
Su señoría, estamos recomendando una fianza bajo palabra a través de los servicios previos a juicio, que asista un curso de control de temperamento, ningún contacto, and if the interpreter may ask, Attorney Graham, was that no contact or no violent contact?
No contact.
Okay. Ningún contacto en absoluto con Elena Velázquez, que no vaya más a 911 de la Greenhouse Circle en Roswell, nada de consumo de alcohol y droga ni tenencia de armas.
And Your
Alright.
Honor, for the record, this incident did take place at 922 Greenhouse Circle in Roswell. Ms. Gonzalez struck Ms. Elena Velasquez in the face, also bit her on the shin, causing the skin to break and bleed.
Thank you.
Para que conste en el acta, su señoría, este incidente sucedió en el 922 de la Greenhouse Circle en Roswell. La señora González le pegó a la señora Velázquez en la cara y le mordió en la canilla, que rompió la piel y empezó un sangrado.
Mr. Murphy, do you have any objections to the stay away and no contact?
No objection to the stay away.
Licenciado Murphy. Licenciado Murphy, ¿tiene usted alguna objeción a la condición de no regresar al local mencionado y que no tenga más contacto violento?
Bond is set at 2,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services level 1.
Ninguna objeción, su señoría. Entonces le impongo la fianza a 12,500. Es una fianza bajo palabra a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
She shall have no contact with Elena Velasquez and to stay 200 yards away from her.
Que no tendrá ningún contacto en absoluto con Elena Velázquez, que mantenga una distancia mínimo de 200 yardas.
She's to stay away from the location at Greenhouse Circle in Roswell.
Que no vaya al lugar del incidente en la Greenhouse Circle en Roswell.
and not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any firearms and weapons.
Que no consuma nada de alcohol ni drogas ilegales, ni que tenga armas, blancas o armas de fuego en su posesión.
You will report to pretrial once a month, and if you fail to report or if you get arrested again, your signature bond will be revoked.
Tendrá que reportarse, señora, a los servicios previos al juicio una vez al mes. Si no cumple con la obligación de reportarse, I'm so sorry, Your Honor. If you fail to report or
Or if you get arrested
if you're
again,
arrested again, correct?
your signature bond will
Sí,
be
perdón,
revoked.
señora. Entonces, si usted no cumple con la obligación de reportarse o si la vuelven a arrestar, su fianza bajo palabra quedará revocada.
Today, you won't have to pay for your bond, but please be mindful of the conditions.
Hoy usted no tendrá que pagar para salir bajo fianza, solamente tenga presente las condiciones de la fianza, por favor.
Mr. Murphy, do you have any questions?
No further questions, Judge. Well, one question. Is there any way for me to communicate with her via phone, or is that, if it's too difficult, it's not a big deal? I don't know.
You can try to call the jail at 404-612, I forgot the number. Oh, 613-2392.
2392. Okay. Thank you, Judge. Other than that, no, I have no additional questions for the court.
All
¿Alguna
right, sir.
pregunta? Ninguna pregunta. Solamente, ¿puedo hablar con ella por teléfono? Sí, puede marcar a la cárcel al 404-613-2392. Esa fue mi única pregunta.
All right, thank you very much. Next
Judge, that
case,
concludes
please.
my business. May be excused.
Yes, Ms.
Okay.
Murphy, have a good weekend. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I could just chime in, I know there was some mention of an add-on, but there is no add-on. The individual who was on the screen before, who stated he had court today?
I don't know, but if y'all can chat that information with,
Who should I chat with? Courtroom 2?
Chat with, Miss Grace.
I don't think Miss Grace has the information either, because again, he wasn't on our list. So
Okay, then we will wait till I address all the accused cases.
Okay.
Mr. D.D. Lim, please stop your video. You can chime in when you hear your defendant's name called. Thank you. Next case, please.
We'll go with position number 6, Ms. Cobb.
Okay. This is Jamaica Cobb, accused of battery, family violence from April 17th, 2024. Ms. Cobb, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Maureen McLeod or Mr. Cook?
Mr. Cook.
Okay.
I represent
I beg your pardon?
I represent the cross defendant. That's why.
Okay.
Yes.
And who's the cross defendant?
It's
Irvin Harper.
Irvin Harper.
Okay. Is Irvin Harper in the courtroom?
Stand up, man, stand up.
All right, we can bring him forward as well. And Deputy, do we need a Spanish interpreter for any other case?
No, I think that's it.
Ms. Tolles, would you like to make an announcement to see if anyone in courtroom 2 or ACDC requires a Spanish interpreter?
Certainly, Your Honor. I did see a Mr. Bustos Cisneros on your calendar. I'm not sure if he might need an interpreter.
That's my client, and he's fine with English.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
¿Hay alguien más en la sala que requiere un intérprete para hablar con los abogados o con la señora juez? ¿Alguien que necesita intérprete? There's no response, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Tolles, thank you so much. You're free to go.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. All right, we have 2 cases before us. Ms. Jamaica Cobb is 24 CR 2016D, accused of battery, family violence from April 17, 2024. The gentleman next to her is Thomas Colton. Scratch that. The case next to her is Irvin Harper, 24 CR 2019D, also accused of battery, family violence from the same date. Both are deemed to be cross-defendants with regards to this incident. Ms. Cobb and Mr. Harper, you have been advised of your right to remain silent. Ms. Cobb, your attorney is going to be Keith Cook, and Mr. Harper, your attorney is Maureen McLeod. Mr. Howard, any priors on Jamaica Cobb?
No,
All right, any priors on Mr. Harper?
check your chat.
All right,
Outside of what I put in the chat, got an open case in Vegas, grand larceny and conspiracy.
all right, understood. Thank you. Let's begin with Ms. Cobb. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. So the incident did take place on April 17th. Law enforcement responded to a dispute call at 7667 Brazos Trail in Fairburn. Jamaica Cobb and her boyfriend Irvin Harper were involved in a physical altercation, both sustaining visible injuries. Mr. Harper was observed with a laceration to the upper lip. Now, the state's recommendation, Your Honor, is a signature bond through pretrial services, a one-day anger awareness, no further contact with Irvin Harper, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
And this is for Ms. Cobb.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And what about Mr. Harper?
So for Mr. Harper, same incident. Ms. Cobb sustained a laceration to the back of her foot as a result of being thrown to the floor. Your Honor, based on Mr. Harper's record, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Jamaica Cobb, stay away from the 7667 Brazos Trail address, one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
I'm sorry, was that a surety bond or a signature bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Signature bond or surety bond? I'm sorry, I lost your audio there. Mr. Graham, did we lose him?
Okay, am I back? Sorry.
Yes, that's all right. I was trying to ascertain whether you recommended a signature bond or surety bond for,
Yes, Your Honor. A
for
surety bond.
Edwin Harper. Okay, all right. Mr. Cook, any objection with these no contact and stay away?
No objection, Your Honor. Well, let me go back. My client says she's not afraid of Mr. Harper and would like to live together. They have a child together who's in the NICU right now. So just, I assume, just days old. She lists her address at Blue Heron Way. Oh, I'm sorry, and also, in other words, an address that's a little bit different than the one I heard. She's in the U.S. She's in the Army, stationed out of Fort Stewart, but is in Decatur now because she just gave birth to this premature child.
Okay.
So again,
Thank
she
you.
has no problem with him coming back, but I obviously was not aware of other things in his background when we spoke.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. McLeod, I'm sorry, Mr. Graham, any no, going back to Ms. McLeod. Ms. McLeod, it's a recommendation of a surety bond. Any comeback?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, he works, but he does not make a lot of money, Your Honor. So a surety bond is going to be a hardship for him. Plus, he tells me that this whole incident, he was definitely not the aggressor, and this was more a situation with his girlfriend's mother, who interfered in an argument that they were having. He tells me that he did not hit anybody, that his girlfriend, she got the laceration on her foot because she was holding the door with her foot. And that was how she received that laceration on her foot.
Okay, thank you. On Jamaica Cobb is going to be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services. That's going to be a level 1. No further contact with Irvin Harper after today. She may return to the location if she lives there. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And she has primary and full custody of the child in question. So she will be able to keep the child. Ms. Cobb, make sure that you report to pretrial once a month and that you maintain a current address with the court at all times. And you do not get arrested again because otherwise your signature bond will be revoked. Do you understand? All right, you may go back and sit down. Mr. Harper, you have an open case in, let me make sure I've got the county correct. This is in Clayton County, as well as an open probation case from Miami, Florida. You don't qualify for a signature bond. With regards to the battery family violence, it's going to be a 1,500 surety bond. After today, you're to have no further contact with Jamaica Cobb. You are to, if you don't live at the premises, you are to definitely stay away from the shared location. You are, just a second, sir. You are to also have no further contact with the child that you share with Ms. Cobb. If you wish to have joint visitation or custody with the child, you have to file a separate legitimation action in the appropriate superior court and get a court order to establish visitation and custody. If your child is born out of wedlock, you have no rights to the child unless you file the appropriate legitimation action. Your next court date is going to be May 2nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. All right. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Would you like to exercise your right to remain silent? All right. Then we'll see you in court on May 2nd. If you do make bond, please remember to stay away and have no contact and file the appropriate legitimation action. Thank you.
Your Honor, may he have at least a one-time police escort back to the location in case he has belongings there?
Does he have belongings at the location?
He may well have belongings.
I need to know whether he does or does not. Okay.
He does, Your Honor.
Then if he makes bond, he's allowed to go back there one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings. That visit cannot exceed 1 hour. But it must be with the company of a police officer.
Thank you,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Thank you. All right. Next case,
Harper,
please.
Yeah, I just wanted to let my client know that once he gets out, he should give me a call.
Oh, okay.
Next, we have position number 10, Ms. Harvey.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod.
I don't believe I have anybody else.
Okay. All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheyenne Harvey is accused of simple assault, family violence, and hindering a person from making an emergency phone call from April 16th, 2024. Ms. Harvey, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Hoda Atai. Do you see your attorney on the screen?
Yes, well.
Okay, good. Mr. Howard, any priors?
No.
All right. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place on April 16, 2024. Law enforcement responded to an active fight call the parking lot of Top Golf. It's located 10900 Westside Parkway in Alpharetta. Upon arrival, they met with Jada Thomas. She explained that while she was sitting in the car, an argument between she and Cheyenne Harvey ensued. At one point, Ms. Harvey began screaming at her, so Ms. Thomas called 911. At that point, Ms. Harvey took the phone from her and hung up the call. Ms. Thomas then ran out of the car, hid in the bushes, and that's where the police found her. When the officer made contact with Ms. Harvey, she did admit to taking Ms. Thomas's phone. When she was asked why, she answered that she wanted to hang up on the police. She also said that Ms. Thomas struck her in the eye during the altercation. The officer was unable to verify. Our office has been in touch with Ms. Thomas. She tells us that the two are in a relationship for approximately a year. They have no kids. They do reside together at 30324 Morgan Place Court. She stated that there's no violent history between the two. She's not afraid of Ms. Harvey, and she confirmed the events in the warrant. She does want contact and for Ms. Harvey to return to the residence. The state is requesting Your Honor signature bond through pretrial services. At this time, we're still going to ask for no further contact with Jada Thomas. stay away from the residence, 30324 Morgan Place Court. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we would like to sound for Miss Jada Thomas at this time, Your Honor.
Right. Ms. Jada Thomas, please unmute and start your video if you want to contribute.
Hello, I'm sorry.
I can't, oh, no? Okay, then we'll mute your screen. Did you want to contribute?
Yes.
All right. You need to stop moving around. Oh, I guess maybe it's that fan that's moving. All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to tell me?
I do not attend to press charges. I'm sorry. We do reside together as well. We also coincide of, making rent and everything together. So
Okay.
I don't want to press charges. I do want her to reside in our address on file is not correct. The address that's listed.
What's the address that you, what's the street number? What's the address?
6301
Yes.
Morgan Place Court, Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, thank you. Miss Atay, that's your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you please hold. On the simple assault, it's going to be 1,500. On hindering a person from making an emergency phone call is 1,000. The total bond is 2,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. She will need to attend and complete 2 anger awareness classes with pretrial services. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and report to pretrial at least twice a month, in which she may be subject to random screens. It's no violent contact with Jada Thomas, and she may return to the location.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
My client is 22 years old. She has lived in Georgia all her life. This is her very first arrest. She is working as a nursing assistant at Emory Hospital. She does deny the allegations. She states that the complaining witness was very intoxicated. And again, she has absolutely no criminal history. I think pretrial services level 2 is excessive. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail and object to an anger awareness and reporting to pretrial twice a month. This is her very first arrest.
I believe one visit will be via email and the other one is in person. So I don't think it's terribly incumbent upon your client. The request is denied. The bond remains as indicated. Next case, please.
Oh, what was the bond? I stepped away.
2,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2.
Okay.
2 anger awareness anger awareness.
Take your time.
It's a long day. Anger awareness classes.
Okay.
I'm not about to say AA classes, so.
I get it. Anger awareness. Okay.
No violent contact, and she may return to the location. Oh, but she has to stay away from the Top Golf at 10990 Some Street in Alpharetta, Georgia.
All right. I got it.
Thank you.
Next, we'll do position number 13. Ms. Lynn.
Okay. Jennifer Lynn is accused
No,
of simple, is that Jennifer Lynn?
No, this is,
I'm sorry, 13.
yes.
And this is Sue Ting Lin. Is there a cross defendant with Jennifer Lynn, or is that a totally separate case?
No, Your Honor, it's a separate case.
Okay.
I'm the new solicitor, by the way. My name's Taylor DeCiano. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, so let's get back to Sue Ting Lin. Is accused of battery from April 17th, 2024. Ms. Lin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim.
Yes.
Okay. Any priors on Ms. Lin?
It's a first for both of the lands.
Okay, thank you. That helps.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday, April April 17th, 2024, the police were dispatched to 230 Bill Kennedy Way in Atlanta in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, the officers spoke with the victim, whose name is Ethan Hetrick. He advised that the defendant is his girlfriend, struck him in the head and face, leaving visible injuries to both areas. The warrant was pretty bare bones, but we did get in touch with Mr. Hetrick, and he said that he's probably not going to be on the Zoom due to his injuries. Him and the defendant have been in a relationship for almost a year. They do not have kids and do not live together. They stated that the defendant has been very physically and verbally abusive to him throughout their relationship. This is the first time that he's actually called the police. It's a situation where it was an argument that escalated into the defendant attacking him. He stated that he has injuries on the back of his head, scratches all over his body. He sprained his shoulder trying to get his phone back from the defendant to call the police. And the victim said that he may have a stitch on his head for a mild concussion. And at this point, he wants no contact and a stay away from the residence. The state would recommend a signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, 1 day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Again, I don't expect the victim to be present, but I'd ask if the court could sound for him now. His name is Ethan Hetrick.
Mr. Hetrick? All right. Ms. Kim, do you have any objection with the stay away and no contact?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. For Ms. Su Ting Lin, the bond is 2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. She's to have no contact with Ethan Hetrick. She's to stay 200 yards away from him and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. And she's also to stay away from wherever he's physically located, whether it's his place of employment, his residence, or in a grocery store, or whatever. She's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or firearms. And if she gets arrested again or if she violates the conditions, the signature bond will be revoked. Thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, she denies the allegation and there was no repetitive battery. Actually, she's the one who was a victim.
Okay, so unfortunately, the warrant is against her, so we'll proceed accordingly. Thank you.
Position 15, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Can we have a time law enforcement officer escort visit so that way she can retrieve her personal belongings? Also, dog is there, so she has to get that dog.
I'm sorry, Ms. Desiano, is Ms. Lin living with Mr. Hetrick?
It's my understanding that they do not live together, Your Honor. I'm not sure if she may have things at his house because they're dating.
If I may clarify, Your Honor, we do have separate residences that are our official residences. However, for the past several weeks, I have been studying for the MCAT exam, and so I have been staying at Mr. Hetrick's residence, and most of my belongings are currently at his residence, including my car keys, my house keys, all of my work belongings, and my pet that he's currently looking after.
Okay, I will allow a one-time visit to the defendant's, to the victim's home, but it must be with a law enforcement officer accompanying you, and you can retrieve your belongings and your pet. The visit cannot exceed 60 minutes or 1 hour. And if there are any items where ownership is in dispute, such as an iPad, a laptop, or even the dog or cat, that item has to be remain at the property and the dispute taken up in a civil matter. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Position 15, Ms. Nelson.
Jeanette Nelson is accused of simple battery family violence in case 24 CR 2023B from April 16th, 2024. Ms. Nelson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook.
Actually, it's Jay Kim, Your Honor.
Oh, is it you, Ms. Kim? Okay, sorry about that.
No problem, Your Honor.
All right. And with regards to this case, Mr. Howard, any priors?
Fourth arrest, last was 2010 suspended license.
Thank you.
Your
Okay.
Honor, this incident occurred on April 16th, 2024. Officers responded to 3369 Dale Lane Southwest in Atlanta in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the defendant, who is the mother, who advised that she had just returned home from being out of town and learned that her 16-year-old daughter was caught trying to steal items at the Kroger that she works at. The defendant advised that the victim was no longer allowed to stay there. However, the police explained that the defendant could not kick her minor child out unless DFACS got involved. The officer spoke with the daughter, who advised that she was trying to steal food because she was hungry, and the defendant left no food in the house while she went out of town. The daughter further complained that the house was dirty and had roaches and overall poor conditions. At this point, the officer walked through the house and saw nothing of concern, no roaches. The house was in okay order. There was food in the pantry. And at that point, the officer left the scene. And when the officer left the scene, he was called to return back to the scene because there was a call of another domestic dispute. Again, the defendant asked the daughter to leave. She advised that after the officer left the first time, she went downstairs to the deep freezer to get more food for the daughter. The daughter came downstairs and an argument ensued. This is a situation of a dual defendants, Your Honor. Both of them ended up being arrested. They have different accounts about what happened. The defendant says that the daughter attacked her. The victim says that she was attacked by her mother. Both of them, none of them had injuries. And both of them ended up being arrested. There was a third witness on the scene who was the defendant's niece, who told the police that she did not see the fight, but she did see part of it when she came downstairs and had to get the daughter off of the defendant and break up the fight. In light of the facts, Your Honor, the state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services and no further violent contact with the victim, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. Kim, I'm going to set a bond for 2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. It's going to be a level 2. I want her to understand that she needs to have, she can return back to her home, and she's to have no violent contact with the juvenile in question. Could you give me the initials, please? Mr.
SN.
SN, all right. And any contact with SN not only cannot involve physical or verbal altercations, but it also must be in accordance with any defects recommendations. Do you understand, Ms. Nelson? Okay. And furthermore, once you are also doing this, you are going to be required to undertake 2 parenting classes while you're out on a signature bond through pretrial. And so you will enroll in at least the first class within 30 days of being released from this jail, and then enroll in the second class within 60 days. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, next case, please.
We'll go with position number 12, Ms. Jennifer Lynn.
Give me the last name, please.
Lynn.
Lynn, oh, the other Lynn. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jordan. Just 1 second, please. This is State versus Jennifer Lynn, Lin, accused of simple battery family violence from April 17th, 2024. Ms. Jennifer Lynn's case number is 24CR 002026D. Ms. Lynn, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors? Oh, no priors. So let's move on to Ms. Desiano. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday. Officers were dispatched to 9305 Chandler Bluff in Johns Creek. Upon arrival, officers watched a video that was taken by the defendant's brother, Christopher Lynn, showing the defendant strike Karen Lynn, who is her mother, in the face multiple times and on her arms while yelling at her. After viewing the video, she was arrested. At this point, our office has not been in touch with Miss Lynn, and we are recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, and anger awareness. And at this point, I think Miss Lynn may be on the Zoom if we can sound for her.
Okay. I think I have Karen Lynn and Christopher Lynn. Was that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Either party, if either individual would like to contribute, you need to start your video and audio.
And to be clear, Your Honor, the victim is only Karen Lynn. Christopher Lynn just witnessed it.
Okay. Karen Lynn. All right. Okay, Miss Kim, anything else to add besides the signature bond?
Actually, she needs to go for the violent contact, Your Honor. They're mother and daughter, and she has no other place to go if she doesn't, because they stay together, her parents and my client. So while she's looking for a job, she really has to stay with them. So I was wondering if we can get no for the violent contact.
Just 1 second. Okay. Miss Jennifer Lynn, on your bond, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond, which means you don't have to pay for the bond today, but you'll be reporting to pretrial, and this would be a level 1 report. No further contact with Karen Lynn. And after today, you cannot reside at the 9305 Chandler Bluff location in Johns Creek. I believe she's over 21 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah. She is allowed a one-time visit to the location with a police officer to retrieve her personal belongings. And then after that, she has to update the court with her new mailing address within 30 days of being released from the jail. While she is out on a signature bond, she will she will undertake 12 anger management classes, which will begin within 60 days of being released from jail. She's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons and any firearms. There shall be no contact with Karen Lynn, no contact with the occupants, to stay away from 9305 Chandler Bluff in Johns Creek, and no weapons and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is 12 anger management classes within 60 days.
All right, next we have position number 14, Ms. Moore.
You said Moon?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Deja Moon is accused of simple battery, family violence, and battery from April 17th, 2024. Ms. Moon, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Her accusation number is 24 CR 002-022A. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
I got second. You got an open simple battery, same victim. That's 23 CR 006-476J. I think she got P&A with Judge Besson next Tuesday.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday. Law enforcement were dispatched to Beacon Ridge Apartments at 5401 Old National Highway, South Fulton, in reference to a physical domestic dispute call. Officers were dispatched to the same location roughly an hour before in reference to another domestic dispute involving the defendant, which is, I believe, what Mr. Howard was just speaking about. In this case, the officers made contact with the first victim and the mother of the defendant, whom she lives with, Miss Kimberly Thomas. Miss Thomas explained that the defendant had gotten upset with her, pushed her, spat on her, and tried to strike her with a stick that she got from outside. Miss Thomas's son then intervened to protect his mother, and she allegedly pushed the defendant away. The defendant then became very upset at another party who was present, Sylvester Lawley, who's the second victim, who I believe is the mother's sister, for not defending her after the brother pushed her. The defendant then struck Mr. Lawley several times with a stick, bit him on the lip, and spat on him. Mr. Lawley sustained several lacerations. I'm sorry, Mr. Lawley's a male.
No.
Sustained several lacerations to his arm and bottom lip from the incident. He also had what appeared to be spit on his face, and the defendant was placed under arrest. Our victim advocates were unable to get in touch with Mr. Sylvester Lawley. They did get in touch with the victim's mother, who said that they do reside together. The defendant has been very verbally and physically aggressive in the past. This is the first time that the police have been called. She confirmed the events as stated in the warrant and would like a no violent contact and no stay away because the defendant has a 4-month-old baby that's in the home. In light of that, Judge, the state would recommend a $1,500 surety on each count. No further violent contact with the victims, stay away from no stay away from the victim, the location if they live here, but no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
And the state is recommending this even if it's the same victim as the prior open case?
Your Honor, I would like to change my recommendation and no further contact with either victim and a stay away from the incident location.
Let me see one thing on this. Okay, the prior case has got no, oh, this is the same location, but a different victim, Kimberly Thomas. Noon day show 417. Okay, Miss Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client, Miss Moon, is only 18 years old and she's still going to high school. She's going to graduate hopefully by this summer 2024. She couldn't go to school for about a couple months because of her baby, newborn baby. She's breastfeeding right now. The baby's only 4 months old. I would like to request for no further violent contact. However, if Your Honor is not inclined to give no further violent contact, she will find another place. And her best friend, Mr. Terrence Edwards, who is 37 years old, is willing to be a co-signer. I was able to call him and verify that he is willing to be a co-signer. So we would like to request for a signature on bond through pre-trial, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. On the simple battery, it's going to be 2,000. On the battery, it's going to be 3,000. That's a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 3. And this is because she's got another domestic violence open case, 23 CR 006476J, in which, yes, she does have a court date with Judge Besson coming up. With regards to this signature bond, she shall have no further contact with Kimberly Thomas and no further contact with Sylvester Lawley. These are the two alleged victims from both the cases. She may return to Ms. Thomas's location one time only with a police officer to retrieve her child and her personal belongings. She must update the court with her new address within 30 days of being released from the jail. While she is out on a signature bond, she will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 60 days of being released from this jail. So in other words, not by end of April, but by June, she needs to show proof that she has enrolled in a qualified domestic violence program and that she will be attending those weekly classes while she's out on a signature bond. Failure to do so can result in her $5,000 bond being revoked and amended to a cash bond or a surety bond. If she gets arrested again, that's also a very fast way of losing her signature bond. Thank you.
You know what I'm about to say, right?
Yes, per judge. Should be a song. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Next case, please.
We have position number 15, Mr. Shelby.
James Shelby is accused of battery, family violence. Incident date is April 16th, 2024 in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County. Case number is 24 CR 002024F. Mr. Shelby, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
2022 suspended license, 2012 simple assault, ag assault, DV. That's it.
That was
Yes, Your
7.
Honor.
I'm sorry, I was going to say that's 7 cycles.
Yes.
That's what I have.
All right, thank you. Yes, Ms. Daciano?
Yes, Judge, this incident happened on April 16th, 2024. Officers responded to 5501 Glenridge Drive, apartment 539 in Sandy Springs in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, officers made contact with both the victim, whose name is Trisha Cole, and the defendant. Ms. Cole advised that she and the defendant have been living together for the last 8 months. The defendant wanted Ms. Cole to turn off the TV, and Ms. Cole didn't want to. Ms. Cole agreed to step outside on the balcony to resolve the issue and took all of the couch cushions with her. The defendant got upset that Ms. Cole took all the couch cushions and picked her up and dragged her into the house, and then subsequently dragged her outside and locked her out. Ms. Cole sustained 3 broken fingernails as a result of being dragged through the house. We did get in touch with Ms. Cole. I believe she will be on the Zoom. She confirmed they've been together for about 8 months. They don't have kids, and they do reside together at the address. She said that they do not have a DV history. She's not afraid of the defendant. She confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that she's not the one who called the police. It actually was the neighbors who called the police from all of the commotion. The victim stated that the defendant is not a violent person. He's under some stress and he took it out on her. And she said that she would like no violent contact and for the defendant to return to the residence. I will point out that the ag assault on his record, the disposition is unknown at this time. And based on the victim wanting contact, the state would recommend a signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with the victim, 1-day anger awareness, and no alcohols, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And at this time, I would ask if the court could please sound for Ms. Trisha Cole.
Trisha Cole. If you want to add to the proceedings, you need to unmute and start your video, please. Okay, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 43 years old, Your Honor. He has been here in Georgia for 5 years, and he is working as a maintenance manager at the apartment complex. Their location is his place. He's the one who has all the, he has the leads. He's the one who's actually living there. He prefers to have a no further violent contact as well. He does have a high school diploma, and we would like to ask for signature. We have no objection to signature on bond either.
Mr. Howard, where is the open ag assault case?
That was from 2012.
Oh,
I believe it's in Mississippi, Your Honor.
Yeah,
and
it
there's
wasn't in
no-
Georgia.
okay.
That's more than 10
Yeah.
years. Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. On the James Shelby is going to be a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 3. He's to have no further violent contact with Trisha Cole. If he wishes Ms. Cole to leave the premises, he would need to file the appropriate dispossessory action. He may return to the location, no illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons, and he will report to pretrial at least 3 times, one of which I believe is virtually. In addition to being out on a signature bond, he's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons and firearms. He's also to enroll in a qualified DVIP program within 30 days of being released. And he's to attend those classes weekly with no breaks. And he's to report to pretrial as to how he's maintaining his attendance with those classes.
Level
Thank
3,
you.
that's once a week.
Once a week, okay. Then I'm
All
sure you'll be able to do that. Thank you.
Next, we have position number 17, Mr. Williamson.
Ronald Williamson is accused of criminal trespass, family violence. Mr. Williamson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Your case number is 24 CR 2025H, and the alleged incident date is July 30th, 2022. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
2014 obstruction, terrorist threat, simple assault. 2010 possession of marijuana.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go
This
ahead.
case is 2 years old. The police were called by the victim, Sierra Bennett, and reported that the father of her child, who is the defendant, was trying to break into the residence located at 432 Ira Street Southwest in Atlanta. Officers responded and found that the front door was kicked in and glass shattered with blood drops. Ms. Bennett advised that the defendant was upset because she told him that he could not stay with her. Ms. Bennett hid in the bathroom upstairs. After breaking into the front door, the defendant proceeded upstairs and then tried to kick in the bathroom door where she was located. The defendant was not able to kick down the second door and left the scene. Our office has been in touch with Ms. Bennett. She states that they've been together for 6 years. They have 2 children together. They do not live together, and that they do not have a DV history. She's not afraid of him. She did confirm the offense in the warrant and stated that her door has been fixed, and she would like to have a no violent contact and a stay away from her residence. And Judge, because this incident happened 2 years ago without any further incidents, the state would recommend a signature bond through pretrial services, a no further violent contact with Sierra Bennett, a stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay. And what's the incident location, please?
The incident location is 432 Ira Street, that's spelled IRA Street, Southwest. And if I could please ask, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you confirm that that's still the location where Miss Bennett lives? Oh, I see
Yes, it
Sierra
is.
Bennett. Oh, let's ask her
Yes,
then.
Judge.
All right, Miss Bennett, you need to stop moving around and unmute if you'd like to contribute to the proceedings. All right. Miss Bennett, yeah. Did you want to say something?
No, ma'am, I don't have anything to say.
Okay, you can mute your screen then. Thank you.
Your Honor, the 432 Ira Street is where they both reside, according to my client. And his name should be in the lease along with hers. So actually, he prefers to return to that location, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Miss Kim, I couldn't make out what you were saying. Do they still live together?
That's what my client said.
According to the victim, Judge, they do not reside together.
All right. That makes it easier. On the criminal trespass, the bond is going to be set at 2,500. Signature bond through pretrial services. And this is going to be a level 1. No further contact with Sierra Bennett, and to stay away from wherever she lives, wherever she works. You're not to have any contact with her whatsoever. If you wish to have contact with the children that you share with her, you need to file a separate legitimation action and get a superior court order to establish joint visitation and custody in order to share co-parenting or co-parent with the children that you share with her. Your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. So if you live with her, you can't live with her anymore. And if you don't live with her, then you need to update the court with your current mailing address within 30 days of being released. Please make sure that you report to court when summoned, and you're not permitted to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons and firearms. Thank you.
Can he have a one-time law enforcement officer as court visit so that he can retrieve his personal belongings?
Does he live with her? I thought Ms. Daciano said the victim said they don't live together.
He has a lot of stuff at 432 Ira Street, Your Honor.
I'll allow a one-time visit with a police officer for him to retrieve any belongings. Miss Sierra Bennett, if you want to contribute or chime in, does Ronald Williamson live with you?
He has been staying with me since
Okay.
our daughter. My daughter is months old. However, when I spoke to the victim's advocate, I didn't speak for us to never have contact with each other.
Understood. No, I understand that part, but I'm ordering no contact. And if he wants to see the children, he needs to file a legitimation action and get contact with the children that way. Because unless he legitimates the children, he has no rights over the children that he shares with you.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Williamson, you allowed a one-time visit to Miss Bennett's location with a police officer to retrieve your belongings. But after that, you must update the court with your current mailing address within 30 days of being released. Thank you.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Next, we're going with position number 5, Mr. Bustos.
Deputy, did you receive the add-on cases?
Not yet.
Okay. Mr. Cook, this is your client?
Is this Mr. Bustos Cisneros?
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Cisneros. Okay.
Yes, that's my client.
All right. This is State versus Brian Bustos Cisneros, case 24 CR 2015J, in which Mr. Cisneros is accused of battery, family violence, cruelty in the 3rd degree, and simple battery, family violence from April 16, 2024. Mr. Cisneros, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Mr. Howard, any priors?
No.
Okay. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place on April 16th, 2024. Law enforcement responded to a dispute call at 3604 Sandalwood Drive in Sandy Springs. Upon arrival, they spoke with Michelle Paredes, who advised that an argument with her boyfriend, Brian Bustos Cisneros, became physical when he pushed her to the ground. The altercation escalated when Ms. Paredes went to pick up their 1-month-old baby. At that time, she attempted to scream for help. Mr. Bustos Cisneros put his hands over her mouth and bit her on the nose. The laceration from the bite mark was still bleeding at the time she spoke to the officer. Mr. Bustos Cisneros fled the scene before the officers arrived. Our office has been in touch with Ms. Paredes. She says that the two have been living together for 2 years. They have a 1-month-old child. They do reside at 3604 Sandalwood Drive. She stated that they do not have a domestic violence history. She is not afraid of Mr. Bustos Cisneros, and she confirmed the events in the warrant. She thinks that the defendant would benefit from therapy. She'd like a no further violent contact and a stay away in a one-time police escort visit. Your Honor, the state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond. That will be $500 on each count. FVIP, we are going to ask for a no further contact with Michelle Paredes, a stay away from 3604 Sandalwood Drive, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And of course, we'd like to sound from Ms. Paredes at this time.
All right. I think it's Paredes, or is it Perez?
The warrant has it spelled Paredes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I don't see anyone responding. Mr. Cook?
Hello?
Oh, Michelle Paredes, there you are. If
Yes.
you'd like to start your video, please. Ms. Paredes?
Hello?
We can't see you. All right, while we're waiting for Ms. Paredes' video, Mr. Cook?
Hello?
Oh, there she is. All right. Ms. Paredes, my name is Judge Lal. Did you want to address the court?
Yes, I just wanted to say
You
that he
need
didn't push
to,
me.
you need to
Oh.
be placed under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to say?
I just wanted to say he didn't push me to the ground. When we were over the phone, I did let them know that he didn't push me to the ground.
Okay.
Yes.
Did he bite you on the nose
Yes.
while you were holding the child?
Yes.
And did he flee the scene when the police were called?
Yes, he did.
Oh, thank you. You may mute your screen. Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, my client has no objection to no further contact or stay away. He has family in the area. He can stay with them. We would object to the FVIP, and we would be seeking a third-party transfer so he can visit the child. Given that this is his first arrest, we would also be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Okay, thank you. On the battery, family violence is going to be 2,500. The cruelty is 1,000. And the simple battery, family violence is 1,500. The total bond is set at 5,000. It is a signature bond through pretrial, and this is going to be level 2. Mr. Bustos Cisneros is to have no further contact with Michelle Paredes, no further contact with the child in question. If he seeks to have any kind of co-parenting, he needs to file a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court to obtain a court order for joint visitation and custody. He's to stay away from 3604 Sandalwood Drive in Sandy Springs. He has to update the court with a new mailing address within 30 days of being released from jail. Within 30 days of being released from jail, he is also to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program, and he is to begin those classes as indicated within 30 days of being released from jail. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And he will get notice to show up in court to his new mailing address. Thank you.
May I say something, Your Honor?
You have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say, your statements can and will be used against you, especially with prosecutors present in the courtroom. So it's up to you.
I would advise you not to speak any further, Mr. Cisneros. You have a signature bond at this point, and all the other things can be worked out over time once you get out of jail and this case proceeds.
Okay, I wasn't aware. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next, we'll have position number 1, Mr. Ames.
Judge, you got Odyssey up?
Yes, sir.
Take this case number down real quick.
Yes, sir.
23 SC 191 176.
All right. Thank you.
It got to do with this case. So
All righty. Got it. Thank you. Just 1 second, folks. Okay. I'm so sorry. Could you give me the position number on the calendar again?
Position 1.
1. Okay. This is State versus Jarrett Ames, AIMES, accused of battery family violence from August 4th, 2023. Accusation number is 24 CR 002011F. Mr. Ames, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. All right. Other than the reference that pretrial gave us, Mr. Graham, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation, based on the history, is a $2,000 surety bond, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Nigel Blunt, stay away from 2439 Ozark Trail Southwest, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Law enforcement was called to this location on August 4th, 2023. They spoke with Nigel Blunt, who advised that a verbal argument between the two of them became physical when he pushed her into a glass table, causing a laceration to her left leg. Mr. Ames did flee the location before police arrived. Our office has not been in touch with Ms. Blunt, Your Honor, but if we can sound for her at this time, in accordance with Marcy's law.
What was that full name again?
The name is Nigel, Nigel Blunt, Blunt.
Don't know if I saw that name on screen. Nigel Blunt. If you are present, you are free to start your video. Don't see one. I have a Motorola Moto, but no idea who that is. Okay, Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is a lifelong resident of the Atlanta area. And he's gainfully employed at U-Haul. We would have no objection to the no further contact. We would object to the anger management course, and we would be seeking a signature only bond to whatever level the judge deems appropriate.
No? Just 1 second. All right. Bond is set at 2,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Nigel Blunt. Just stay away from the incident location. No alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. Next court date is going to be May 2nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Next, we'll have position number 4, Mr. Brown.
Edward Brown is accused of battery from April 17th, 2024. Accusations 24 CR 2014G. Mr. Brown, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, please?
6 total. Got an open ag assault, possession of a firearm. It's 24 SC 000733.
Thank you. Mr. Grant?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place on April 17th, 2024. Law enforcement responded to a fight in progress call at Georgia State University's Piedmont Central Dining Hall. It's located at 92 Piedmont Avenue. Upon arrival, the officer met with Brenton Washington. He was outside on the street. He advised that Edward Brown was working in the back of the kitchen at the location, cleaning dishes, when he became aggressive and threatened to punch Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington turned to walk away. At that point, Mr. Brown threw hot water that contained some chemicals on Mr. Washington, causing red marks to his forearm and his back. Your Honor, the state's recommending a $1,000 surety bond, a 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Brenton Washington. We also ask for a stay away from that Piedmont Central Dining Hall location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Our office hasn't been in touch with Mr. Washington, but we would like to sound for him in accordance with Marcy's law.
Brenton Washington, if you are present, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. All right. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 30 years old, 46 years old, but he's been in the Atlanta area for 30 years. He works as a contractor at Dobbins. He has done that for 15 years. He denies the allegations as stated. We don't object to a no further contact or stay away, or the no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. He would object to the no anger management, or he would object to the anger management course, and if I heard well, we would be seeking a signature only bond through whatever level the judge deems appropriate.
All right. It's $1,000 surety bond. Next court date is May 2nd. No further contact with Brenton, Washington, and to stay away from the incident location. He may return to work at the incident location as long as Brenton, Washington isn't there. So if Mr. Washington does not work there or anything, then that's fine. But if you go back to that location and he works there or he's anywhere near that location, you would have to leave. You need to tell your employer you have to stay 200 yards away from that person. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no weapons and no firearms. Yes, sir.
The reason why I requested the signature bond is because I don't have any numbers and I don't have much family in Atlanta. Nobody knows where I'm at.
I understand, sir. Unfortunately, you have a very recent open felony case, 24 SC 0000733, and that disqualifies you from a signature bond at the present time. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have position number 2 and 3, Mr. Anderson.
2 and 3.
Mr. Ronald Anderson.
All right. Here we go. Ronald Anderson has 2 separate cases. Position 2 is 24 CR 2012Y, accused of simple battery family violence from July 29th, 2023. The second case, 24 CR 2013Y, Mr. Anderson is accused of battery family violence from April 17th, 2024. Mr. Anderson, you have the right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
2016 simple assault arrest, 2013 battery DV arrest. That's it.
Okay, no disposition?
I don't recall seeing any.
Okay. Mr. Grant?
Thank you, Your Honor. So, position number 2, the case ending in 12Y. This incident took place July 29th, 2023. Law enforcement responded to a dispute call at 1302 Cahaba Drive, Southwest in Atlanta. Upon arrival, Andrea Jones advised that an argument with her boyfriend, Ronald Anderson, became physical when he headbutted her and bit her face during the altercation. And during that incident, Mr. Anderson did flee the scene before police arrived. And on the incident, position number 3, ending in 13Y, took place on April 17, 2024. Law enforcement responded to the same location. I spoke to the same victim, Ms. Jones. She advised that she and Mr. Anderson were arguing over a book bag. She had placed some things in a book bag and attempted to leave the residence when Mr. Anderson approached her from behind and told her to give him his book bag. He then grabbed the book bag, taking it from her, hit her with it several times, punched her in the face with a closed fist, pulled her by her hair before throwing some food on her. The officer did observe an abrasion to her lower lip, bruising to the right side of her face, and she had food in her hair. At the time, Mr. Anderson had this warrant for the incident that took place last July, and noted that Ms. Jones mentioned there has been a history of violence between the two of them. Your Honor, based on the nature of the incident, the fact that it is the same victim, in the history, the state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond on each of the cases. An anger awareness, no further contact with Andrea Jones, stay away from 1302 Cahaba Drive Southwest, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Our office has not been in contact with Ms. Jones, but we would sound for the victim at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Andrea Jones, if you are present, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. All right. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection to the no further contact. We would object to the anger management course. We would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate. I would say that my client has lived in the, excuse me, in the area for 40 years, and is gainfully employed. And beyond that, we would leave it up to the court's discretion.
All right. On position 2, the simple battery family violence, that's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. He needs to enroll in a DVIP program within 30 days, no contact with Andrea Jones, and to stay away from the Cahaba Drive location. He may return to that location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings. I think it's 1302 Cahaba Drive, that's in Atlanta, Georgia. He may return there one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings. That visit cannot exceed 1 hour. Of course, if Miss Jones does not live there, then he can move back into the property. But if she's still occupying the premises, then he cannot live there. He will need to update the court with his new mailing address within 30 days of being released. And he needs to enroll in the DVIP program within 30 days of being released as well. On the second charge of battery family violence allegedly occurring a couple of days yesterday, the bond is going to be set at $2,500. It is a surety bond, no contact with Andrea Jones, and to stay away from 1302 Cahaba Drive. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. And his next court date will be May 2nd at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Your Honor, what was the amount of that second bond?
2,500 surety.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, we'll have position number 7, Mr. Colton.
Thank you. All right, just 1 second, please. There we go. Number 7 is Thomas Colton, accused of criminal trespass on April 17th, 2024. The case number is 24CR2017E. Mr. Thomas, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors, please?
25. He was arrested last Friday for trespass. Got an open shoplifting, open trespass on probation in Fulton, trespass, simple assault. It's 23CR006148J. Probation violation from this year, shoplifting from this year, FTA from last year. 2020 trespass damage, simple assault. 2019 trespass damage, simple battery, possession of marijuana. And probation from 2019 and 2018.
All right, thank you. Mr. Grant?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident did take place yesterday, April 17, 2024. Law enforcement responded to a criminal trespass call at the Southwest Package Store that's located 2110 Campbellton Road Southwest in Atlanta. Upon arrival, they met with the owner. I'll spell his first name, WANGHYUNG. Last name is Sung, SUNG. He showed the officer video surveillance of Thomas Colton taking a box off of a truck at that location. Mr. Colton was on the property when the officer arrived. He had been previously trespassed from that location on September 2nd of 2023. Your Honor, based on the history, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond, no further contact with the owner, Mr. Sung. Stay away from the Southwest Package Store, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Your Honor, we have not been in touch with Mr. Sung, but of course, we'd like to sound for him at this time.
Okay. Mr. Sung? It's S-U-N-G, right?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Sung? No. Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 33 years old. He is the father of one minor child. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. We would not object to a stay away and a no further contact. I understand that there is some history, but he's charged with a criminal trespass here. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. He is qualified according to the pretrial report for a signature bond level 3, Your Honor.
Right? He received a signature bond on April 13th, 2024, and then was released on April 13th, 2024, and then came back on April 17th, 2024. I don't think a signature bond is going to work out for him. The bond said $1,000 surety bond to stay away from the Southwest Package Store, no contact with Wang Hu Sung, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Thank you.
Next, we'll have position number 11, Mr. Hill.
Oh, and his next court date's May 2nd. Thank you. One more thing on the Anderson case that we just addressed. I'm sorry, I didn't specify. On Mr. Ronald Anderson, he's got a DeKalb County hold. So even if he makes bond, unfortunately, he cannot be released. DeKalb County will have to come pick him up. I'm sorry, Deputy, what was that case number again?
Position number 11, Mr. Hill.
Okay.
Did you put that woman's name on there?
Okay. Mr. Hill. DeLorean Hill, case number 24CR2021C, is accused of 2 counts of simple battery family violence occurring on January 2nd of 2024. Mr. Hill, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Atay. Any priors, please?
12, 2018 DUI, 2015 assault battery, 2014 battery dismissed.
12 cycles. Okay. Does he have any holds at the present time?
Not that I'm aware of. I'll look and see.
Okay. Mr.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ciala?
This incident's alleged to have occurred on January 2nd, 2024. This incident took place at 1300 City of Refuge Apartments located at 1200 Mason Turner Road in Atlanta. The defendant came home at 2 a.m. when the victim, Miss Nigella Madian, got upset with him for coming home so late. His response to her being upset was that he choked her and hit her on the head. She and the defendant shared several children together who were present during this altercation. One of the children, while crying, explained that to police that she saw the defendant hitting the mother. The other child, juvenile ZM, explained that during the altercation with Miss Madian, the defendant also pushed her into a countertop. Miss Madian corroborated her daughter's statements as well. The defendant was identified based on the statement that was made to Miss Madian regarding a previous domestic dispute between them from 2014, in which the defendant was arrested. I believe that's the case that Mr. Howard said was dismissed. At this point, Your Honor, our office has not been in touch with the victim. Our recommendation would be a $2,000 surety on count 1, a $1,500 surety on count 2, no further contact with Najla Madian. I'll spell that as Najla, last name Madyun. No further contact with juvenile initials Z like Zulu, M like Mike. A stay away from the City of Refuge Apartments located at 1200 Mason Turner Road, Family Violence Intervention Program, and no drugs, alcohol or weapon while on one. And at this point, I would ask if the court could sound for Miss Najla Madian.
Miss Madiun? Madiun?
Judge, he didn't have a hold.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is a 35-year-old father of 3 minor children. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He is gainfully employed as a railroad conductor at Norfolk Southern. He does deny the allegations and states that the complaining witness was upset that he stayed out late. I was able to speak with the complaining witness, and she stated that it was just a disagreement, and she did not confirm the events in the warrant, Your Honor. She stated that she wants contact. When he found out about the warrant, Your Honor, he turned himself in yesterday. He didn't want this to interfere with his work and his ability to provide for his children. And as far as I see, he has no open cases, he has no holds, he has no convictions. Even the 2018 DUI was dismissed, Your Honor. He has no misdemeanor convictions, certainly no felony convictions. I don't know the history. I didn't see any of that on the pretrial report. And he is recommended for a signature bond through the jail, UJR. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail as he is qualified. And I would object to, I would ask for no violent contact, and I would object to the stay away.
Okay. On each count, it's going to be $1,500. That's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. He's to have no violent contact with Najla Madyoun. He may return to the Mason Turner Road location. Within 30 days of being released, he will enroll in a domestic violence program, and he must show proof that he's enrolled in that program within 30 days to his pretrial officer. Failure to enroll and attend and complete those classes can result in his signature bond being revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. He's to have no violent contact with Ms. Madyoun, and he's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. He will be subject to random screens by pretrial, and his next court date will be sent to his current address. Thank you.
All right, next, Your Honor, we're gonna go with position number 1 on the add-on calendar.
Okay.
Mr. Aramillo.
Julio Aramillo. All right. Mr. Aramillo, do you speak English?
I do speak English, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Cook, is that your client, or who's representing Mr. Julio? Ms. Kim? Okay, thank you. This is 24 CR 002-028E, State versus Julio Aramillo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Mr. Aramillo has got 4 misdemeanor offenses stemming from a traffic incident. First of all, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Kim. The charges are driving on with an expired or no license plate or decal, no valid insurance, giving false information to an officer, and failure to have a license on person. So the arrestable charge seems to be no insurance and giving false info. This stems from a March 13th, 2024 incident. And Mr. Howard, any priors, or if you have a traffic history?
I don't have the traffic. I didn't pull it. Like 11 total. Most of his history, from what I see, is theft on probation. I mean, I have open cases for that, and on probation. Forsyth County open case in Fulton and Gwinnett for theft.
Yes, Your Honor, this case, law enforcement was traveling northbound on Medlock Bridge Road at Johns Creek Parkway in Alpharetta. The officer received an Axon license plate reader notification of an expired tag of a white Ford F-150, tag number TBY6524. The officer located the vehicle ahead of him and confirmed notification with GCIC. The return also indicated that the vehicle was not insured. At this point, the officer initiated a traffic stop and made contact with the driver, explained the reason for the stop, and asked for his driver's license. The driver identified that he did not have the driver's license on him and falsely identified himself as Christopher Carrillo. The officer went and verified the defendant's vehicle was not insured before releasing the defendant on a copy of the charges. The officer was notified several days later that the name and DOB of the defendant that was provided were false, and that his actual name, because the person whose name he gave, Mr. Carrillo, called the court and had explained what happened, that he was not the person driving that vehicle. The defendant admitted to the officer that he used his friend's name and date of birth instead of his own during the traffic stop. At this point, the state would recommend a signature bond through pretrial services, no driving without a valid license, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapon while out on bond.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim? Any objection to no driving? Are you on mute, Ms. Kim?
We have no objection, Your Honor, as long as he can drive when he has a appropriate driver's license, valid ID and license and insurance and registration.
All right, you do understand that he's got a felony case with a $15,000 bond at the present time. So on the expired license, that's going to be 500. On the that's going to be a signature bond through the jail. The no insurance is $1,000 surety. The giving false information to an officer is going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, and failure to have license on persons a 500 signature bond through the jail. This is going to be a $3,000 split bond. Next court date is May 2nd, subject to him making bond in both the cases. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration and decal for his vehicle. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next case is with Mario Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Mario Jordan.
Your Honor, my client has a very, very severe financial situation right now. Because of the felony charge, he's gonna have a very hard time to pay for any bond. So I was wondering if we can do $1,000 surety bond to a signature on bond through pretrial, Your Honor.
I was thinking of that, except I saw that he was previously granted a UJR recently in 2022, and he doesn't qualify now, on top of the open felony case. Yeah, one too many infractions, just he doesn't qualify.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, can you go over the breakdown on that one?
Sure. The no insurance is 1,000 surety. The driving, no license plate is 500 signature bond through the jail. Giving false information is 1,000 signature bond through the jail. And failure to have license on person is 500 signature bond through the jail. 3,000 split, May 2nd. Mario Jordan, please.
Yes.
Mr. Mario Jordan has an open misdemeanor case, 24 CR 2029A. Charged with simple battery family violence from February 21st, 2024. Mr. Jordan, you have been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say during the course of this proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is going to be Ms. Atay. Mr. Howard, any priors?
28 total. Last arrest was April 3rd. Possession of marijuana, driving without a valid license. He got a lot of open driving charges. Got an open CP for possession of dangerous weapon or drugs by an inmate. It's 23 CP 218610. Theft by receiving, possession of marijuana, obstruction. That's 19 SC 167148. Theft by taking, 18 SC 159711. And a 2019 simple battery conviction.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
Your Honor, in this
Walker?
case, law enforcement was dispatched at 875 Hank Aaron Drive, where they met with the victim, Ms. Tamisha Jordan. I believe that Ms. Jordan is on the line, but she advised to the officer that the defendant and her are either separated or the defendant is her ex-husband. She was returning home for picking up their children from school. They were having a disagreement, I believe, over the phone, or they were having some type of disagreement. When she returned to her apartment, she locked the door. The defendant began to bang. He actually kicked the door in, came into the apartment, and pushed her in the forehead and called her out of her name. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, a no contact with Ms. Jordan, a stay away from the instant location, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol were out on bond, and Ms. Jordan is on the line, so we will sound for the victim at this time.
All right, Ms. Jordan? If you want to contribute to the proceeding, Ms. Tamisha Jordan, please unmute.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Did you want to say something about this case?
I mean, really, I'm not scared of him or anything, and we are still like legally married, and we have 6 kids together.
May I
So
place you under oath?
oh yes,
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
yes,
All right, so let me just ask you one question. Are you and Mario Jordan legally married in the state of Georgia?
yes,
All right, you all obtained a marriage license and so forth?
yes.
Okay. And what would you like to tell me with regards to this case?
I mean, the day that it happened, I don't know if he was frustrated or whatever, and he took it out on me. But I'm not like he don't scare me or anything or like this the first time that I had to call the police on him or whatever like that. And then we have 6 kids together, and like I have medical condition that I go through, so he helped me out with getting the kids up and ready for school and stuff like that. So.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Ate?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 32 years old. He is the father of 6 minor children. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He is gainfully employed. He does deny the allegations, which allegedly occurred almost 2 months ago, Your Honor. As you heard from the complaining witness, she does want contact with him. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No violent contact. I would object to a stay away. I'm not sure if the state asked for a stay away, but you've heard from the complaining witness. She's not afraid of him. She does want him to return to the household, and nothing further.
All right. I'm reviewing the charges as well as this open felony charge right now. Did he receive a bond? He's got a crossing guidelines with illegal substances.
He did get a bond, Your Honor.
Okay. Then I've got his August 25th, 2023 traffic matters, which include fleeing and attempting to elude. Then I've got more cases from 2021, 2 separate cases from 2021. Then a new case in 2019. I mean, it's just, bond is set at 1,500. This is a surety bond. No violent contact with Tamisha Jordan. He may return to the location, but if he gets arrested again, this bond will be revoked. His next court date is May 2nd. All right, I'll just go over the calendar with the accused cases. With regards to the add-on calendar, Julio Aramilio is a $3,000 split bond, reset May 2nd, and Mario Jordan's a 1,500 surety bond, reset May 2nd. With regards to the main SAP calendar, position 1 is a 2,500 surety bond, reset May 2nd. Position 2 for Ronald Anderson's a 2,000 signature bond through pretrial, but he's got a decap hold. Position 3, Ronald Anderson's a 2,500 surety bond with a decap hold. Position 4, Edward Brown is a $1,000 surety bond, reset May 2nd. Position 5, Cisneros is a 5,000 signature bond to pretrial level 2 for the notice. Position 6, Jamaica Cobb is a 1,500 signature bond to pretrial for the notice. Position 7, Colton is a $1,000 surety bond, reset May 2nd. 8, Gonzalez is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. 9, Harper is a 1,500 surety bond, reset date May 2nd. Position 10, Harvey is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 11, Hill is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 12, Jennifer Lynn is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. 13, Sue Ting Lin is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 14, Miss Moon is a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. 15, Nelson is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 16, Shelby is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial level 3. And 17, Williamson is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Any questions, folks?
Yeah, you said 15 was 25 or 35?
For which one? Which position number?
Position number 15?
Position 15. May have misspoke.
No, it's the pre-trial.
It's a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial, level 2.
Thank you.
And she needs to do 2 parenting classes.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I think, Deputy, did you still have the private counsel case in courtroom 2, or is that matter been resolved?
That matter has been resolved.
Okay, then we are concluded with the C calendar. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a safe day. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Oh.
That was 15, right? Yeah, 25.
Oh, she don't play. She don't. You might give her more.